Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a Empodérate de Chicanos por la Causa. Welcome back. We are always so excited to start a new season. And now we have so many new things happening. Tenemos ahora our new co-host, Valeria Rodriguez, a new member of the CPLC familia. Welcome,
yes.
Valeria.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very excited to join CPLC. You know, I was actually a little bit involved in interviewing people at CPLC back when I was in college, and now I get to actually be part of CPLC. And obviously, I'm very excited to be here on this couch with you.
Fantastic. And we love it. So many connections, and we'll learn more about as the season develops about your story, the connections to CPLC and everything you do. It's always so fun.
Yes, I'm very, very excited, you know, to be here and stuff. How they say, what is the theory? The 7% theory that
the six degrees of separation?
6 degrees of separation. I had it completely wrong. The 6 degrees of separation.
6, 7 is pretty close.
Okay. But everybody's connected in some way and everybody knows. So it's very exciting to kind of see how everything unfolds in that sense.
And, you know, every time we come and record an episode of Empodérate, which was created as a space to be able to share our personal connections and our connections to our culture, our connections to our community. We learn of so many everyday heroes and then superstars like the one that we are joined by today, of how many connections and how good they're doing to make our lives better, our community brighter, and just feeling ourselves being empowered every morning. I was tired this morning when I was coming. I don't know about you. I was running around, and then once we start and we're here, it just makes such a huge difference in how our day is going to go. And I'm sure you watching or listening to us, you'll agree with us pretty soon.
Yes, I very, very much agree. You know, it's very much a Thursday, so we're very excited to kind of get the weekend started and stuff. And, you know, being here, I feel like it's a little bit of an adrenaline rush and seeing people that we already work with. So catching up of what happened yesterday and knowing, you know, how they're doing is very, very exciting.
And also, special thanks to all the people behind the cameras that are here today. Veronica, Mayra, Jessica, and Jimena, who are summer interns, superstar summer interns, I want to say. And then also Fatima, that will be joining later. We're ready to start. Yes. How about you introduce our new guest?
Well, you know, you guys may know her as Crafty Chica. We want to introduce Kathy. Kathy, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, very, very excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, where did you grow up? You know, how you became Crafty Chica.
Oh, sure. Well, I grew up in Phoenix. My family, very generational. We've been here like 3 generations here in Phoenix. And I love that because it's even though I've traveled all over the world, Phoenix is my favorite place to be. It's just so much culture and community and stories, history, all of it. And I come from a very creative family. And growing up, I just always knew that I wanted to do something creative with my life. I love to doodle. I love to write. And my parents were more like, oh, like, how does that fit into like engineering? Because my family, a lot of them are engineers.
Really? Oh, wow.
And, you know, they just encouraged me I was on the newspaper staff, on the yearbook staff. I was just always doing something creative. And I knew back then that I wanted to have a career in writing and art. And my goal was to write for the Arizona Republic to be a features reporter. And this was in high school.
That's amazing. I remember your columns.
Yes. Well, you know what is so funny is that people think life is so linear, like you do this, do this, do this. Mine is just loopy and all over because I didn't start working at the paper until I was in my 30s.
Oh, wow.
And my goal of being a features reporter, that was in my late 30s that happened. And they asked me, in addition to doing the celebrity column, if I would do a craft column on Saturdays. And I started doing a craft column because they knew I was an artist. I had a full-time art business with my husband. And the column took off. It got picked up by 130 newspapers all around the country.
Was it USA Today?
Yes, through Gannett News Service.
And
I had to learn how to design for a general market audience because I knew people in the Midwest would be reading my columns. So I couldn't make everything Latina, but I could still reflect my culture in what I wrote about. And I thought, you know what? We need a website with Latino tutorials. And because we know our culture, our nanas, abuelas, we all craft from crochet to
You're
painting,
right.
everything.
Yes.
We're so creative. So I launched Crafty Chica in 2001 with all like Latina themed craft tutorials. And here it is 24 years later. It pays for my mortgage. It's like in my lifestyle. It like launched everything for me. And that was after I left the paper. So that's why I always think like a goal I had in high school, it's always evolving and growing. Even now at this age, I'm still doing things that I wanted to do back in high school.
So I wonder, going back to when you decided to tell your engineering parents that you wanted to make a life and earn money by going into the arts. How that conversation, because in the Latino community, we don't see arts as something that is going to be financially
and
viable.
I think that being a parent and a Nana Chica now, I understand where my parents were coming from when they were like, that is no way to make a living. Like, you will always be struggling. You know, what if you want to travel? What if you want to have kids? It's just not realistic at all. But my dad, he was very creative and artistic, but he gave it all up when he became a husband and father and went to work for the city and had all kinds of odd jobs for the family. So I feel like they always say, like, we are our parents' inner child. And I feel like I'm both of my parents' inner child of the creativity my dad had to kind of shut down. I'm unleashing it for him. And my mom, the fear that she had of creativity and finances, I'm unleashing that. So I feel like it's generational healing for all of us.
That's fantastic.
Very, very
Talking
cool
about
stuff.
progresar and then just look at the next generation to do much better than the previous
But they're always
did.
so supportive of everything I did. I mean, I've authored books. Every time I have a new book, I would take it to them and they would be like, oh my gosh, or they'd come to my book signings or my product releases at Michael. My dad would be first in line. So they're always so supportive.
So I wonder, Valeria, my question, because, you know, you started opening the doors, the trailblazer for general market, the Midwest, or other spaces that were not as exposed to the Latino culture. How was that? And we're talking about at a time where, you know, you were the trailblazer. So therefore, you needed to introduce how that process going. What did you learn about that?
What I learned, it really helped working at the newspaper and having that column, because I would receive emails from people all over the country. Even like I had a lot of men in prison who would write me like, I love your craft this week, you know? And I'd have like...
So you had a crafty club?
Yes. And then I'd have like, you know, a grandma in Kansas that would say, oh, my daughter-in-law is Mexican American and I love this project because we can make it together. And so what I learned was that our culture is so universal, from people who love to travel to different Latin American countries to people who just love the style and the aesthetic, to people who have married into Latino families or families who've had someone come into their family. So it's just a kind of like everyone, there is a touch point for everyone to relate to our culture. And I loved that so much because as a middle child, Sagittarian, I'm all about bringing people together. And I would do like craft cruises on Carnival Cruise Lines every year. And we would get 50 women from all over in and out of the country who would come and craft together to do, I call them like Mexi crafts. Like, and everyone had a story to tell why they were inspired by our culture. and wanted to learn more about it.
Very, very cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe your cousin painted a mural at our community center.
Yes, my cousin Cecily.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Our Van Buren Community Center. That's fantastic.
Yes, yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful connection.
I love that because her dad and my dad, they were very close brothers, and they both have since passed away. And Cecily and I, we get together and we create together, and we do it in honor of our dads because we know that they're super excited for us.
That's fantastic. Yeah, creating space is always and crafts, and it's sometimes a legacy that you can pass on, and certainly a bonding opportunity with your family.
Yes.
I remember when my grandma was helping me how to sew, how to just
Yes.
neat and everything else, and I
from the
still
business
pass it on.
side, it's like I think it's like a $43 billion industry, and we deserve to have space in there. We deserve to have product designers, products to buy at the store, tutorials, all of that. And what I've learned over the years is that instead of waiting for something to come, we just do it ourselves and put it out there, and then it will get noticed and get incorporated into the mainstream of things.
Is there a specific event or activity or craft that you designed that you were surprised of how it took off and was, acquired by the general masses?
I really think all of it. I was the first to have a Dia de los Muertos display at Michael's.
Oh, wow. That's very
So
cool.
this was in 2008, I think, and they were really nervous about it. And they let me have this display, full end cap. I'd had one the year earlier that did really, really well, and the top selling SKUs were Dia de los Muertos. So I took it as an opportunity to explain. So I had links on there to my website so people would buy a product, go and learn all about the history of it. And the next year, they asked me to do another end cap that was all Dia de los Muertos. And then what was funny was I showed up to it so excited, but they did their own end cap next to mine. So it was two of them, but I'm like, hey, you know what? It's more for everybody. But that surprised me because I was nervous because my husband and I, we've been making art for Dia de los Muertos since, the 90s, and people did not understand it. We would be vending at an event, and they'd go, "Oh, skeletons." I'm like, "It's a special holiday." Like I try to explain real
I'm
quick.
wearing mine.
Yes.
Earrings.
And now people understand. And I've written articles for hgtv.com about our, what it means to explain to the masses. Like, it's not just a cute sugar, skeleton with colorful things. It has meaning behind it. So every opportunity that I have to educate, I take advantage and do that.
That's fantastic.
Very, very cool. And, it's very interesting to see all that. I mean, I think it's really important to, educate everything that you do as well. So tell me a little bit about, is your daughter also creative? I know that you have a daughter.
Yes, I have two kids, a son and a daughter, and they grew up right next to me as I was building Crafty Chica and working at the newspaper. So they quickly understood what it was like to do a press release and go do a TV segment or go with mom to, a book signing. And they both took that in their own way. My son, he has a site called The Geek Life, which is all about gaming, and he invented his own role-playing game. He's now married with the family and everything, but still does it. And my daughter, she is a part-time job. She would make YouTube videos for different companies showing off their products. And she ended up, what happened was, she had a national TV segment, and a producer from BuzzFeed saw it and brought her out to be a resident for a residency program at BuzzFeed. And then they hired her full time. So she was able to see what I did with my videos and do her own version and use her own talent and her own creativity to launch her own career. So I love that. And I think as a parent, it's so important to pay attention to what your kids are into, what makes their eyes smile, and help them guide them through that, because our job is to help them have happy lives. And so I saw that in both of the kids when they turned 16. Each one, I bought them their own URL and website so they could launch their own little brand.
That's fantastic. What a wonderful idea. You're right. We keep listening to the bell because we are the Girls Leadership Academy of Arizona.
I love
one of the
that.
best schools in the state of Arizona. And school actually at CPLC starts next week.
Nice.
And so they're testing the bells right now.
Just to make sure.
Just to make sure that everybody's going to be on time, the students as well. So I wonder, so you laid certainly the groundwork for your two kids to understand how to, make presentations, follow their desired, be good negotiators, understand about brand and positioning. How did you learn? Because talking about Michael's and then the national segments and everything in your books, right? It's about business. It's not only about knowing how to make crafts and the ideas that you may have. Whereas many people that start their own business or their own brand fail to look at the other side of the business, the negotiation, the marketing, and so forth. And you seem to really caught on everything right away.
Yes. Well, for one thing, before I worked at the paper, my husband and I, we would do vend at events, handmade art. And I thought there has to be a better way. We cannot raise a family off of making 100 magnets or flower pots. So I knew I wanted to scale it up. And I didn't quite know what way. And when I went to work at the paper, and this is a tip for anyone who has a goal of a type of industry they want to go get a job in that industry so you could learn the ins and outs. What I learned at the paper was press releases that companies or artists would send me, and what jumped out at me, it made me want to write a story about them. And I would go to their website and look at their story. Can I write something juicy about this? If it was a boring bio, it didn't have any color to it. But if it told their origin story, one day I cried in the elevator because blah, blah, blah. And the next day I invented a new elevator, just kind of that hero's journey story.
Yeah.
And I had Crafty Chica on the side, and I would work on it at night while all the family was in bed. And I stayed very consistent with it. And I pretended it was my own newspaper. And I also looked at Oprah at the time. It was Oprah, Tyra, J-Lo. And I'm like, I want to do what they're doing. How can I take that and make it for Crafty Chica? So I created my website with different branches, like J-Lo sang, did movies, had perfume. Oprah would act. She had her TV show. She had her book. So I'd say, okay, I want a craft product line. I want craft books. I want to teach national workshops. So I built those out, and I put it on my website as my services. And what happened, every product I use, I would tag the company. Look what I'm doing, what I'm making with your product. Look at how many people looked at this blog post that used your product. And I went to the craft convention. I found a way to attend, and I was able to connect with manufacturers. And I gave a presentation, and I said, okay, my goal is really setting intention for everything, because I barely even made $30,000 at the newspaper. And I'm like, this is my chance to make something bigger for what I want to do. And I went with the intention, I'm going to give this presentation. I'm going to wow manufacturers, and they're going to want to do a product line with me. And I had a line at the end of people who wanted to do that. I picked my favorite glue company, and I wrote a list of a crazy list. I think it was crazy because I was scared to leave the newspaper because my parents were so proud that I, had.
It was a stable job.
It was a stable job.
And it was a good job.
Yes, and I loved it. And
yeah.
I loved it. And so I thought, you know what? What if I could get this glue company to double my salary and they would be my only advertiser? The only products I use were their products. So I put a pitch together and I said, let me be your spokesperson. You will be the star of my website with your products. And, this is the salary. And I beefed up the salary. All they can say is no. Yeah. And they said yes.
Oh, wow.
And so
your
I was
first pitch?
Yes.
Wow.
So I left the newspaper and I had this job as a national spokesperson for my Crafty Chica line and their glue line with, benefits, 401k, everything I could imagine and more because I took the chance. I thought ahead every single thing. To this day, I think, what do I want out of this? Every social media post, what do I want people to get out of this? Every product I design, what do I want them to do? How do I want this to make people feel? And I think that's where a lot of people don't realize to do that. And they just kind of get on the routine hamster wheel and keep doing what's working, but you're just staying in that safe zone. If you want to break through, you have to take a risk on yourself and think bigger. Think 3 years from now, do I still want to be doing this? What would I really love to do? And then reverse engineer it. So for me, it was going straight to the source. And with every other, I designed greeting cards for Barnes and Noble and planners. So I would go look in the store and I'd see what they have. And then I'd say, okay, what would my version look like? And I'd go home and I'd do my prototypes and I put it out there. Oh, I want to have a greeting card line. So it's just going out there and doing it for yourself, not always waiting on someone to come find you or discover you.
Very, very cool. So you're kind of working backwards in a sense, right?
Yeah.
So obviously talking about all your triumphs and everything. Tell us a little bit what maybe has been the biggest challenge that you face in all these years.
I've had a lot of challenges. When I was in Michael's with the manufacturing company, there was a big sales meeting and I got a big head and I said, I don't need help. I'm going to put this presentation together. I did not know how to use Excel. And I read the numbers from lowest to highest and I built a whole pitch and delivered it based on the lowest selling SKUs.
Oh, no.
And they stopped me halfway and they could have canceled everything because what a waste of time for everybody. But they said, because we like you, we're giving you one more chance. We're going to fly you out here on Friday and you have to give it. But this time it's to the vice president. And I was like, oh my God. So I learned never take anything for granted. Yeah. Get the help that you need to learn. Set your ego aside. And of course, I've pitched so many things. I have so many ideas and a lot of them get rejected. And that's okay because I'm I have lots of ideas. All it takes is for one to hit. So I have 12 books. I think I've made maybe over 30 book proposals. So even more than that, but 12 of them made it through. So it's just a matter of learning from what doesn't work. Do I want to fix it and try again? Or do I realize this is not for me? And in that case, they say sometimes rejection is protection. So if it's something that's not meant to be, I will let it go and move on to something else.
Are crafts for everybody?
I think, yes, absolutely. There's something for everybody. And I really get so disturbed when people go, I don't have a creative bone in my body.
I just heard you say you have 1,000 ideas.
We do.
I sit down and I try a little bit and I love it. Then I move on to something else. But I admire so much of, how easy it is for others to be able to, create murals.
And I think
so
it's
beautiful
letting
and impactful,
go of,
for example.
Of thinking if we're creative or not and just allowing ourselves to be creative. Stop thinking if you're good at it or if you're natural and just create. that's all. Our creative bone is like, I'm here. I am here. You do have a creative bone in your body. It's me. Like, let's do something. So you could dabble a little bit. It's just to relax you and find something. No one's going to judge it or grade it. It's just, it helps with your mental health. It has so many benefits to it of being able to turn off the left side of your brain and switch over to the right side, which is the creative side. And I mean, something as simple as sticker journaling, where you're just putting stickers on a page and adding doodles. It can allow your mind to relax and think about goals and things that you want to have.
I sometimes relax by watching videos of people being creative.
Yes. Sometimes that works too.
Easier than other people. Okay.
Yes.
I like to do crafts too, like to paint and stuff. Oh, my favorite thing is just to watch a show, turn off my phone, and then just like paint and stuff. Even though like it doesn't come out the best, but I'm like, okay, good. Like,
the more you do it, the better it will become.
Yeah.
Everything, the more you work on it, they say it takes 10,000 hours to become perfect at something. So if you only spend 1 hour, like it can't be perfect. It would be a stroke of luck if it is, but you just keep working on it and
practice.
Have fun with it.
It's a good way to see it. So what's next for you, Kathy?
Oh gosh, I'm always working on different things. So I have some things that I designed for national retailers that come out like 2026, 2027. And those are always fun. I'm teaching local workshops. I have some new book proposals that I'm putting out. I have a space at Amor Collective of all my handmade items.
I love
it
the women
there
behind
too.
putting it together. They're
And,
amazing.
With all the business of Crafty Chica, my heart lies in making things. Like being in my paint clothes, like with the playlist on, my hair up, like just making ceramics or jewelry. So Amor Collective is a place where I can put all of my handmade pieces there. And so I have my craftychica.com website. I'm working on a new retreat. So I just came from France. I had the Crafty Chica retreat in the south of France. And so I've been home a couple weeks now.
We should go there.
Yeah, seems like something we
There
need
is
to
a
be
direct
too.
flight to Paris now.
Oh, I heard
So we
from
just have to go
Phoenix.
when it's freezing because this is probably the lowest fare.
Yes. Yes.
We'll be in France, crafting away with Kathy.
Yes, so I'm working on a new retreat for 2026 and trying to figure out where I want to do it and just uniting people for the sake of creativity and culture. That's what I love to do.
Definitely. And I'm pretty sure, like, France, obviously they don't speak the same language as we do, but I'm pretty sure they speak, in a sense, like the same language as we do in the sense of like arts and crafts.
Oh, yes.
And stuff.
And they speak Spanish there.
Oh, okay.
A lot. Like, that's what got us through in a lot of situations. They just switch so quickly. Like, whatever language you speak, there's someone there who knows it. And that was a beautiful connection to have of, just meeting new people and communicating in that way.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we're so excited that you had the opportunity to stop by today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's been amazing to learn more about you. I mean, your positivity, your energy, and lots of ideas of that we can all be artistic in our own way, as long as we follow some of your your recommendation tutorials.
I think the biggest takeaway is just honoring your intuition of what you want to do in your life. It doesn't have to be one big thing. It can be a bunch of little things. And I call it my life experience list. Like, I want to have this experience. I want to have that experience. Yes. And then start doing them and see how far it takes you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it. It's artistic, but then you also do your work behind it. There is a brainstorming session. There is a plan in place, in addition to also taking the risk and do what you love.
Yes.
I love it. It's all in there.
Yes, make the most of being here.
Thank you for being here today. And Valeria, congratulations on our first episode together.
Yeah, we did it. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
See
you next
for
time.
having me.
Yeah, well, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time at Chicanos por la Causa en nuestro episodio primero de esta temporada de Empodérate.